What is your worst roommate story? He'd just throw things away that didn't belong to him. Sometimes it'd be little things like a potato peeler or a baking tray, which isn't a huge loss, but it's a pain in the ps when you're in the middle of cooking something and realize you don't have it anymore. Other times it'd be a tumble dryer or the cushions from the back of the sofa. We had a Henry vacuum cleaner. When it needed emptying, he just got rid of the old bag without bothering to replace it. So the next time I opened it, several months worth of dust flew everywhere. Another time he tried to rewire its plug, connecting neutral to live and earth to neutral, because it had stopped working, and he naturally assumed this must be because someone else goes around screwing with the electrical wiring. We get a brand new washing machine, and he puts so much powder in it that foam starts spurting through the seal. Doesn't give a solitary eeps. Numerous smoke alarm activations due to putting things directly on the bottom of the oven on maximum heat, or letting pots overflow while he's nowhere around. Once melted half a plastic spatula by leaving it on top of the cooker. My room was directly above the kitchen, so it'd stink of smoke after each of these incidents. He'd leave the toilet seat covered with piss, or the toilet stuffed full of TP or kitchen towel. Once left his daughter's dirty nappy right in front of the toilet in such a way that you couldn't just step around it. Again, not ups was given. No idea what he's up to now, but I wouldn't be surprised to learn that he's either died in a house fire or electrocuted himself due to his own incompetence. I lived with a guy who'd take a 1-hour, steaming hot shower every morning, and he would hot lodges for 45 minutes in there. 3-second pause. Every damn day. Our gas bill was insane. We paid like $120 a month 18 years ago just for hot water. He balked every time we told him to cut back on the showers or pay more of the bill. I moved in with this woman, who I could tell from the beginning was a little nutballs, but I figured they were just innocent quirks. Plus, I was in a desperate situation, and her price was really good considering how expensive our area is. So I moved on in. Within a few days of moving in, started talking about how she needs to go to another country to get her car, but she needs to be there for 2 months. But it's Spain. I mean, anywhere else like France or Italy, you can just spend a week or two, but not Spain. You need to be there at least 2 months, because it's Spain. Here's the kicker. She wanted me to pay $200 more for rent during those 2 months, and move all of my stuff to her bedroom, while she rents my room out to someone else during that time. Thankfully, she never followed through with this ridiculous idea. I left a dish on the drying rack. When I was at work, she sent me an email about how distressing this was, and how it discouraged her from making lunch with her boyfriend that day. She copy and pasted the Florida statute of tenant responsibility to maintain premises to back up her supposed anguish. Let me please emphasize that this was one single dish, which was the small pan I used to make eggs that morning. They had entire countertop surfaces, including an entire island in the kitchen, to make whatever the ups they wanted, but my pan on the drying rack somehow destroyed her plans for the afternoon. Did the same thing when I started to take out the trash. I was in a rush on the way to work. I tied up the trash bag and forgot to take it out to the dumpster. I was running around. Where's my purse? Where's my keys? Get my shoes? So my mind was somewhere else, and I simply forgot to take the bag and put it in the dumpster. A couple hours later, I realized this and ran back to the apartment and took out the trash. Work was only 2 minutes from the house. Later that day, hours after I took the trash out, I received an email with another Florida statute that I had supposedly violated by tying up the bag and not bringing it to the dumpster. Once again, I had caused her distress. She constantly went into my room. But it's weird, because she was not taking anything. I installed cameras to see what she was doing. I still have the videos of her just walking in, looking in my closet, and leaving. Other times, she would go into my bathroom and rifle through my stuff. But the weirdest video? I had towels hanging on a hook. There was a video where she purposefully went into my bedroom and made a beeline for the towels and started inspecting each and every single one of them, looking at the tags, everything. Then she walked away from the towels, then turned around again to go back to the towels, as if she was thinking, wait, I forgot something. It was really, truly bizarre, and I still show it to people because of how weird it was. After about a week or so of watching her go through my stuff, I broke my lease. In our state, a 2-month lease requires a 7-day notice. I told her there was some family emergency and I will be out by the end of the month. She started crying and throwing a tantrum about how I didn't give her 30 days. The next morning, I kept my cameras on and she made a rampage through my room. She found one of the cameras, my iPad, Actually in flip tips. She went through my iPad, deleted apps, and she even went into my email account and deleted the app notifications that were sending videos to my phone, a camera app called Presents. She went into my Facebook account and deleted posts. She even sent him messages from my iPad. I realized what was going on, and I used the Find My iPhone app to lock my iPad. I left a threatening message on my iPad, and she ran out the house. I went to the police station, where a cop helped me move out. My dad helped me later. My boss compensated me for the hours lost. I took her to court. She wasn't giving me back my deposit, claiming that I set the carpets on fire, kicked in the walls with my pointy shoes. Trust me, this would have hurt me more than it would have hurt the wall, yet she couldn't provide any evidence of it. She got railed by the judge and she started crying, and they kept threatening to kick us both out and reschedule the court date. I had a whole team of people who will testify. That Spagata 111 is a slob. My father and I provided photos and videos of me leaving the place absolutely spotless. Yet somehow she makes these claims that I kept burning the carpets, that I dragged mud everywhere, that I wrote on the walls. In court, she brought in a document that was supposed to be our lease. We didn't have a year-long lease, but she made a whole document and even put in a date and forged my signature on it. I showed the judge a text message from a later date, showing her saying something like, "Let's just try this out for a month and see how that goes, and then we'll figure out an official lease." How does that sound? The judge completely torched her ass for this. Edit. Sorry guys. I decided I can't post the vid. I've given enough info by now that if someone saw it, you could easily connect the dots. That's not my intent. Also, sorry, I can't format. My roommate left our dorm for Christmas break after I did and left a half of a gallon of expired milk not in, but on our fridge. When I got back, the entire room smelled like death and crusty rotten milk was adhered to our floors. He proceeded to try to clean it with bleach-based toilet cleaner. She pretty much disappeared and went to live with her girlfriend in the next town over, leaving us to care for her cats. We are animal lovers, so we obliged for a while, but we started getting sick of paying for cat litter for somebody else's cats. Things started deteriorating, and she would flip out about the electric bill, when the electric bill was actually pretty low. She was pissed that it wasn't basically zero, because she was never there. Her logic was that we should be like snow creatures and live in the cold and never turn the heat on because she wasn't there. The house didn't need to be heated. Finally we decided we'd had enough of this crazy ps and found a new place. We notified her we would be moving out and informed her that we would not be taking care of her cats after the 17th. The 17th came and went, and we texted her and told her this is the last day. We are fully moved out. You will have to come take care of your cats now. She texted back okay. About a week later, she sends us a barrage of text messages flipping out on us. She had abandoned her cats for a week, and of course, they had trashed the place. Who wouldn't? They were hungry and didn't have any place to ps. So they ripped open bags of food and shat everywhere. She said she was going to sue us. I contacted my lawyer and my lawyer said bring it. Oops. She didn't have a shred of a case. We never heard from her again. My first year in uni I was lucky enough to find a house share that was a 5-minute walk away. There was 4 of us sharing. 3 females and a male. The guy was a slob and expected the rest of us to clean up after him, make him food etc. Now he was bad enough, but one of the women was amazingly stupid. She started running a bath, realized she hadn't bought any bath salt so popped to the shops without turning off the water. Another time she was making something to eat, left hot oil on high in a pan on a gas stove and set fire to the kitchen. But the worst one was when she left the front door open to air the house. Everyone was out, and she knew this, and she went shopping. Everything valuable was taken and none of us could claim on insurance because Titsy thought it would be a good idea to tell the insurers she left the house unsecured. I rented a room out in my house once to a little old lady. Turned out to be the worst experience of my life. At first it was little things, like not picking up on signals of when you are busy or do not want to talk. Then it turned to invading my personal space. I had a movie going and was cuddling a woman on my bed, and she just walks right in and stands in front of the TV and goes, "Do you know short people live longer?" Then the conspiracy theories really started up. Chemical trails, secret societies, the end of the world. Eventually it got pretty aggressive, and she called me and my friends sheeple. It got to the point where my friends didn't want to come over anymore, as this lady would latch onto you and talk your ear off about crazy ps, then get unpleasant if you were not listening. The final straw was when I took a day trip the coast. I was out of cell reception for about an hour, and when I got cell service I got 2 voicemails. Her cat had gotten stuck in my room. When will I be home? The second, I had to break into the room to get the cat out because it was meowing. She actually went over to my neighbor's house and told them it was life and death, and that they had to help. So my neighbor came over and cut up the door with a sawzall. Ruined the door and the doorknob. Came out of her deposit. I was gone maybe 4 to 5 hours total that day. That was the last straw for me. Gave an eviction notice the next day, as her lease had expired just a couple days before. The lady even thought she would get her deposit back before she moved out. Yeah, no. She hid from me how much the rent actually was, so I would pay more without knowing it. I found out after she left. Treated me like I was renting a room from her, even though both of our names were on the lease. Kept asking me to pay certain bills, even though I'd already paid them, or they were not even mine. Most recently, 3 months after she left the apartment still owing me a lot of money from utility returns that we got, she had the nerve to ask me to pay her for more expenses. I told her to just use the money she owes me, since I wasn't expecting it back anyway. I'll probably hear from her again. Edit. I didn't know how much the rent was, because the lease did not include utilities, which she set up on her own, before I moved in. In Germany we call it warm rent. And it includes both the basic rent, that is specified in the lease, cold rent, and utilities. My roommate in college had a friend who decided to live homeless for the summer in San Francisco, and also had dreads. This is important. Well, the school year starts, and they are always at my apartment. I would come home from class, there would be the friend wrapped up in my favorite blanket drinking all my drive pepper. Anyway, I come home one day and my roommate goes, "Guess what we have?" She was really happy, so I figured maybe they replaced my soda. She goes, "Lice." Turns out the friend got lice while living homeless in San Fran and didn't think to cut out his dreads to comb the lice out, so they never really went away. I threw all of my pipes in plastic bags and went to the laundromat and washed everything on high heat with ammonia in the water. I didn't go back for 3 weeks. She moved out shortly after. Edit. 1 word. I had a roommate my freshman year who was a senior. She got really drunk the first week of classes and came back to the room to change, during which time she ate a Jolly Rancher off her desk. 2 days later she has her wardrobe locked. She apparently counted her candy crazy in the first place to make sure I didn't steal any. Since she was blackout drunk and ate one, she assumed I had stolen 1 Jolly Rancher, and then for the rest of the year thought I was a thief. We did not get along, and I couldn't convince her I didn't steal one. I had already committed to living with a roommate in college for a second year before she started acting up. It started simply enough. She began acting strangely with a new friend of mine I'd invited to sit with us, and a couple of my roommate's friends. We were in the hallways lounge one night when she came in and asked everyone in the lounge if they agreed with her that criminals didn't deserve humane treatment because what they did wasn't humane. When no one agreed with her, she got angry, slammed the door behind her, and shunned everyone in that room for days. She finally started talking again when someone else that was in the room begged her to because it was contributing to their anxiety, so my roommate relented. Most infractions between then and a year later were in that vein. Typical shunning, then yielding when she couldn't go without validation any longer. There reached a point when I grew tired of placating her. I wouldn't allow her to drag me to events, so she wouldn't have to go alone anymore. I took out our recycling a little less frequently. Once she asked, "What do you do for me?" when all she ever did was do her laundry and leave it all over our floor after, and occasionally take out her trash, while I dutifully turned off our light every night. She's afraid of the dark and tried to keep things passably clean. See, she never cleaned, aside from one time she vacuumed her half of the room because her boyfriend was coming over. She also threw up in our sink, then acted like she didn't know why there was moldy food trapped in it. I'm not sure what the final straw was for her, but it all went ups a few months before the school year ended. She stopped talking to me and turned her attention to finding little ways to spite me. I lived in the library, coming back around 1 AM to sleep and typically leaving for my early morning classes before she got up. I found leaves torn off my plants and left in my trash can. One night she called her boyfriend and talked to him until well after 2 AM. He tried to end the call several times, but she kept him talking until his phone actually died. At one point she actually insisted he tell her she's prettier than Beyonce. A couple days later she invited him over. He was in our room until after 2 AM. Previously he'd always left by 10 PM because she sat on his lap to prevent him from leaving. She'd leave the lights on and the curtain open when she left in the morning the one time a week I had class after her. When finals arrived she really had it out for me. My school email started getting bombarded with emails. She signed me up for car insurance quotes, tire quotes, house quotes. 2 prepaid debit cards were sent to me in the mail, usernames for the accounts. Simps, classic right. I got a total of 50 of these emails, most during finals, but they went on into the summer. Even one last Friday, almost a year later. One time she came back early on a weekend, the only time I'd spent some time in the room I was paying for, got into my space, and cussed me out. She called me some choice words, and said it's no wonder no one's living with you next year, because I'm such a terrible person I opted to live alone this year. Wonder why? She blamed everything on me, tried to gaslight me, saying all along she tried to be my friend. She'd never said anything behind my back, a lie. A friend she still ate with would catch me up on the goings on where I was concerned. How she'd once defended me when a friend accused me of being cold or something. My only words to her were a calm sure, and I actually think we are both in the wrong here. No tears. Nothing. It was a mess. I went back to my room even later despite it being finals. One time she purposely set her alarm to wake me up after she left for a final, but she was always so loud it wasn't like I was sleeping anyway. Here's the kicker. When I was moving out I found hummus on one of my towels. I found hummus on my comforter on the inside. Who does that? I found dried salsa on another towel and my suitcase in my closet. While taking apart my bed I found crushed tortilla chips between my sheets and comforter. Who thinks of these things? TL. Doctor. Rumored went crazy once I stopped being a reliable source of validation. Apparently putting hummus in a person's bed is a solid revenge tactic in someone's mind.